What if I told you? The United States didn't just reject a fighter. They rejected the future itself. A machine like the Northrop YF-23 Black Widow II, faster, stealthier, and ahead of its time, walked away from history before it even began. This is not just a story of a decision. This is a story of a moment when power, politics, and fear collided. And the cost of that choice still echoes in the skies today. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will make you question everything you thought you knew about military power. But what if I told you? The United States Army once rejected a fighter so advanced, so powerful, that if it had been accepted, it could have changed the balance of global air power forever. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is not just a story about a military decision. It's a story about politics, power, misjudgment, and a billion-dollar mistake that still echoes today. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be asking yourself one question: how did they get it so wrong? But before we go any further, if you want real stories like this, stories they don't teach you, inside secrets, hidden history, and the truth behind global power moves, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel is built for people like you, people who want to know what's really going on. And I promise you, I'm going to be dropping more content just like this, from military secrets, to global economic shocks, to strategic power moves that shape the world. So subscribe now, and let's get into it. This story takes us back to a time when the world was on edge, when technology was evolving fast, and when the United States was desperate to maintain its dominance in the skies. The Army was looking for something specific, a fighter that could do it all: speed, power, versatility, a machine that could dominate the battlefield without compromise. And then it appeared, a fighter so unique, so different, that it immediately caught attention, not just from engineers, but from pilots, from strategists, and from those who understood what the future of warfare would look like. This aircraft wasn't just another design. It was a statement. It had unmatched performance, incredible maneuverability, and capabilities that were years ahead of its time. Pilots who tested it reported something unusual. They said it felt like flying the future. The control, the speed, the way it responded. It wasn't just better. It was different. And for a moment, it looked like this fighter would become the backbone of American air power. But then, something happened. Behind closed doors, decisions were being made. Meetings, discussions, arguments, and a shift in priorities that would change everything. Because in the world of military procurement, it's not always about what's best. It's about what's approved. And that's where the problem began. You see, this fighter, as advanced as it was, didn't fit perfectly into the existing system. It was too different, too unconventional. And for some decision makers, that was a problem. There were concerns about cost, about maintenance, about whether the technology was too far ahead to be practical. But here's the thing. Innovation always looks risky until it becomes standard. And in this case, that risk was misunderstood. Instead of seeing potential, they saw uncertainty. Instead of seeing the future, they saw a gamble. And so, the decision was made. They rejected it. Just like that. Years of development, millions spent, countless hours of testing, all set aside. And in its place, they chose something safer, something more traditional, something that fit the system. At the time, it made sense to them. But history has a way of revealing the truth. Because not long after, the world began to change. Other countries started developing their own advanced fighters. Technology kept moving forward. And suddenly, the things that made that rejected fighter too different became exactly what everyone else was trying to build. Think about that for a second. The United States had a chance to lead the next generation of air combat, and they walked away from it. But it gets even more interesting, because some of the ideas, the features, the innovations from that rejected fighter didn't disappear. They were studied, analyzed, and years later, they started showing up in other aircraft. Different names, different programs, but the same core concepts. It's almost like the future they rejected came back anyway, just later, and at a much higher cost. And that's where the real mistake becomes clear. It wasn't just about one fighter. It was about timing, about vision, about the ability to recognize what matters before everyone else does. The Army didn't just reject a machine, they rejected an idea. And in doing so, they delayed their own advantage. Now imagine if they had said yes. Imagine if that fighter had been fully developed, fully deployed, and integrated into their strategy. The training, the tactics, the doctrine, all of it would have evolved around a more advanced platform. The United States could have been years ahead, maybe even decades. But that's not what happened. Instead, they played it safe. And in the world of military power, playing it safe can sometimes be the biggest risk of all, because your competitors aren't playing safe. They're watching, learning, adapting, and waiting for you to make a mistake. This was one of those moments. And here's the part that makes this story even more powerful. It's not unique. History is full of these decisions. Moments where something groundbreaking was rejected, only to be proven right later. But in this case, the stakes were global, the consequences massive, and the lesson crystal clear. Innovation requires courage, and when that courage is missing, opportunities are lost. Now, I want you to think about this in a different way. This isn't just about the military. This is about decision-making in general. How many times have we seen something new, something different, and dismissed it because IT didn't fit what we were used to? How many times have organizations, companies, even individuals missed out on something big because it felt too uncertain? That's what happened here. And that's why this story matters. Because it's a reminder that the future doesn't wait for permission. IT doesn't care about comfort zones. It moves forward, with or without you. And if you're not ready to embrace IT, someone else will. So the next time you hear about a risky idea or something that seems too different, remember this story. Remember the fighter that was rejected. Remember the opportunity that was lost. And ask yourself, are you looking at a problem? Or are you looking at the future? Because sometimes the biggest mistake is not taking the chance. And if you found this story powerful, if it made you think differently, if it opened your eyes even a little bit, then you already know what to do. Subscribe to the channel right now, because this is just the beginning. I'm going to be bringing you more stories like this, more hidden truths, more breakdowns of the decisions that shape our world, from military strategy to economic shifts to global power moves you won't hear about anywhere else. This channel is not for everyone. It's for people who want to see what others miss. So if that's you, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay ahead, because the next story might change the way you see everything. And now you see IT. This was never just about one fighter. It was about a decision that delayed the future. The Northrop YF-23 Black Widow 2 may never have flown in combat, but its idea, its power, its vision never truly disappeared. So the real question isn't why they rejected IT. The real question is, how many times does history repeat this same mistake? If this story made you think differently, then this channel is for you. Subscribe now, because the next story I share might change the way you see the world forever.